Your agency know you from local person?
We also have offices in
I will be fine. Yeah, of course, no problem. Yeah, I'm just the opposite, huh? I'm very close to you. I'm very close to you. Normally, yes, I have been here for almost a year. I'm still here for 3 years. Yes, yeah? I don't know. Okay. Reach out to me, yes. Alright? Next week is the week after extremely busy. Last week already extremely busy, and then first week of May also. Okay. Yeah. Very cool. Thank you. Okay. Nice meeting you.
各位贵宾，欢迎莅临2023台欧盟电动车产业聚落投资合作论坛。活动即将开始，请尽速就座。提醒各位现场的贵宾，请将手机关静音或震动。另外，全程请勿录影或录音。会议全程将提供中英文同步口译服务，若有需要，请携带证件到场外换取同步耳译口机。另外，也请各位协助在会后呢提供我们的意见调查表的填写。谢谢您的配合。 Distinguished guests, welcome to 2023 EU-Taiwan Investment Partnership Forum on EU EV clusters. We'll begin shortly. Please take your seat and turn on your cell phone or switch to silent mode. Audio and video recording is not allowed. Simultaneous interpretation service will be provided. Please bring a photo ID to the front desk in exchange for the headset. Also, please help us to fill out the questionnaire at the end of the seminar. Thank you for your cooperation.各位贵宾，欢迎莅临2023台欧盟电动车产业聚落投资合作论坛。我是今天的司仪吴心如。Distinguished guests, welcome to 2023 EU-Taiwan Investment Partnership Forum on EV Clusters. I'm today's MC 马雅武。台湾车用电子与电动车产业持续蓬勃发展，供应关键零组件至国际各大厂，更是欧盟可以信赖的伙伴。本次论坛邀请欧盟会员国的电动车产业聚落以及台湾指标的企业，介绍欧洲电动车产业聚落与台商投资的案例，来探讨台欧投资机会。The automotive, electronics, and EV industries in Taiwan have gained a strong reputation as reliable partners for the EU, providing crucial components to major car manufacturers worldwide. To further strengthen this partnership, experts from EV clusters in EU member states and Taiwan's top companies will gather at this forum to showcase successful European EV investment cases and discuss potential investment and collaboration opportunities between Taiwan and the EU. In the beginning, we would like to welcome Ms. Emil VP Chang, Director General of the Department of Investment Service of Economic Affairs, to give us his remarks. Let's give him a round of applause.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman Lee and Madam Kozlovska and Mr. Euba. And ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and all the business leaders, good afternoon. I'm Emil Chang from Invest Taiwan, also under the Ministry of Economic Affairs. I'm delighted to be here for the EU-Taiwan Investment Partnership Forum on EV clusters. Taiwan is the EU's sixth largest trading partners in Asia, and the EU is Taiwan's fifth largest trading partner. The EU is also Taiwan's largest source of foreign investment. Long-time trust and the close collaborations has been built between Taiwan and the European. And global climate change and the Russian invasions of Ukraine triggered in the energy crisis. Therefore, countries have quickened their path in reviewing energy development strategies. This not only highlighted energy security issue, but also made net zero technologies in the emerging tech industries such as new energy, electric vehicles, and energy storage a key development project. And the countries across the world have set climate goals, and Europe, United States, and Japan have released incentive policies. Despite the shortage of chips, global EV sales in 2022 still grew by 49% compared to the previous year. And Europe is the second largest market worldwide. As a pioneer of a global green economy, the EU is creating opportunities from climate changes through the European Green Deal. For example, new cars sold in EU must meet zero emission standards from 2035, which will drive new business opportunity to the European EU EV industry. And Taiwan has gradually joined the EV supply chain in the fields of automotive, electronics, batteries, charging systems, and horsepower. This is now the best time for Taiwan to strengthen cooperation with European companies. And in response to the global trend of net zero transformation, Taiwan and the EU have both priorities development of electric transportation. Taiwanese industry will create new opportunity with the European companies and drive the growth of the EV industry together. Speakers from the Czech Republic, Belgium, Hungary, and Sweden will share investment opportunities. I believe the discussion will be fruitful and productive, and the forum will yield incredible outcomes. The Ministry of Economic Affairs is always pleased to see more bilateral investment and the supply chain collaborations between Taiwan and Europe. To conclude, I would like to wish the greatest success of today's forum, and I wish you good health and have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Director General Emil N.P. Zhang. Please return to your seat. Next, we'll welcome Mr. Richard Lee, Chairman of Taiwan Electrical and Electronic Manufacturer Association. Let's give him a warm applause.
Thank you very much to Director General Chen from MOBA, Madam Kozlowska from European Economic and Trade Office. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all. Thank you for attending 2023 EU-Taiwan Investment Partnership Forum on EV Cluster. On behalf of TIMA, I would like to thank MOEA's support and EETO's effort to help E3 EBRC, which is European Business and Regulatory Collaboration Programming, and the TIMA to jointly organize this forum dedicated to EU-Taiwan prosperity on EV clusters. I would like to sincerely thank Mrs. Madam Sonny Lee of Delta Electronics to deliver a keynote speech. And thanks also to EU guest speakers from Czech Republic, Belgium, Hungary, and Sweden. I'd like to also thank Madam Krisky Xu of Zhonghua Institute for Economic Research to host a panel discussion, monitor the discussion with Madam Sonny Lee and from Delta with EU guest speakers. Welcome you all to 2023 Taipei Empire and Autotronics Taipei and 2035 E-Mobility Taiwan, 3-in-1 show, which is now the largest EV exhibition and forum in Asia. Latest research shows that worldwide sales of electric vehicles grew annually by 55% to 10.1 million units last year in 2022. Mainland China was by far the largest EV market. Mainland China pulled away from other markets in terms of EV sales in 2022. They offer EVs at every price point in every car segment. However, Europe is the second largest EV market with a 26% share and 2.6 million units sold. And EV represents 23% of Europe's vehicle delivered in 2022, up from 20% in 2021. In other words, Europe has very strong staying power in terms of converting to EVs. From a global perspective, EV will be heavily driven by European market, which are expected to represent around 30% of all passenger EV sales by 2030, even higher. Taiwan has played a limited role in the global supply chain for combustion engine powered cars. From 2017, Taiwan has begun rapidly expanding our footfalls in the electric vehicles. Taiwan's strong position in electronics and mechatronics contract manufacturing is just what is needed to compete in the worldwide fast-growing EV market. Nothing illustrates Taiwan's increasing presence better than a breakdown of a typical Tesla model. Our powertrain, our body electronics, our telematics, like cameras and monitors, our batteries and charger, which very competitive in the global market. In fact, Taiwanese companies account for around 75% of Tesla's component bill of materials. TIMA, since 2017, formed up an EV team to initiate car electronic system and sent delegations to visit United States and Europe. Even during the COVID pandemic crisis, TIMA continued to send out EV delegations. TIMA has a 3-year plan to promote EV to be Taiwan's next ICT perspective. From 2023 this year, TIMA will integrate Taiwan's semiconductor industry, Taiwan's ICT hardware and software industries to establish an internationally competitive EV hub. TIMA is also support EV industry to build a Southeast Asian supply chain, particularly focusing on Thailand, Indonesia, and India. TIMA is also support investment to be onshore or nearshore to key car markets such as Europe, United States, and Japan. Where in Europe, Taiwan's EV onshore bases will be in Czech Republic, Hungary, Slovakia, and Poland, so-called Migrant 4 countries. For the United States, Taiwan's EV nearshore bases will be in Mexico, crossing the border between the United States and Mexico. For Japan, the ideal location will be in South Japan, Kyushu, where TSMC is building their new foundries. TIMA has worked with EV, partnering with ETTO for years. In 2021, we jointly host the EV Investment Forum, which has become now an annual event in Taiwan for EU. EU is the largest foreign direct investment to Taiwan, and Taiwan is EU's most reliable partner. Taiwan is investing aggressively in EU. During the past 3 years, I personally visited all 15 EU member nations' representative offices in Taiwan. We are going to organize a delegation to visit EU. We welcome all EU industrialists, experts, and friends to Taiwan. I hope that this forum will provide a valuable platform for productive discussions and bring fruitful collaborations between EU and Taiwan. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Rogy. Please return to your seats. Next, please join me to welcome Alexandra Kozłowska, Head of Trade Section, European Economic and Trade Office, to give us her remarks. Give us a warm applause.
You had better speech than I do, you know. Dear, I want to first thank to the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Lin Chang and Chairman Li to be with us today. I think that our services worked very well to prepare this. Of course, it wouldn't happen without support of ITRI and your skillful team. So this is one of our flagship events, in fact, for the European Union in Taiwan to promote Europe as an investment destination. So during this event today, we will argue and we will also prove that clusters are excellent vehicles, are excellent animals to respond to the needs of modern Taiwanese enterprises that look for both trade and investment opportunities in the European Union. So we came all here together to seek for synergies between European green transition, which includes electric mobility, and to see what Taiwan companies can offer to help us. There are in fact two transitions. One is green, but the second one is digital. So they will be key drivers in innovating Europe's mobility systems across all transport means, all transport modes. While some good progress in the EU has already been achieved, it remains important that this mobility is not seen in isolation. So this twin transition for mobility will require that we have an integrated approach to bring about progress on energy front, but also in infrastructure policies. Because no sustainable mobility will happen without renewable energy, in fact. So this electrification has become the name of this transition, which means that access to renewable electricity as well as sustainable produced batteries. You will see today also some speakers speaking about different solutions in batteries. We also have a battery cluster. So you will see today what are the opinions of the European experts on batteries and what the business opportunities for Taiwanese companies are. This is the most important element today. So on both fronts, both in the EU but also in Taiwan, we need to ensure that first of all, the electricity is sourced from renewable energy, but also that it becomes, or it remains, affordable. So our future green mobility is not only about selling electric cars, it's about the whole set of issues from infrastructure to digital to make it happen. And why Taiwan? Because Taiwan has traditionally been very, very strong in the ICT sector, and this has a role to play in Europe. Your companies can help us to integrate these solutions into our grids, into our cars, into our charging stations, and so on. So I see that Taiwanese companies are very strong already in electric vehicles, in green energy, in Internet of Things, and I really admire your science and technology parks that local governments have provided for these companies to flourish. Our goals for the green future are exactly the same in EU and in Taiwan. So we can learn from each other, and I think that Europe is in fact a perfect place for Taiwanese companies to work together with the European peers to make it happen, both in Taiwan and in the EU. So I'm sure that on the way back, they can learn about our European green transition and replicate here in Taiwan to help your green economy to grow. So one of the important elements of our industrial strategy is a greater focus on industrial ecosystems. They capture the set of very complex issues, interlinkages, interdependencies among sectors and firms, and they help them to grow in Europe. So we see the role of clusters, these industrial groupings in the industrial ecosystems as leaders of change, because they push forward the vision for green and digital transition. They communicate, they explain, they help implement companies on the ground. So we also in the EU, we help clusters searching for trade, investment, partnership opportunities in global markets, also in Taiwan. We have different industrial alliances on batteries, on hydrogen, on circular plastics, you name it, to boost investment and trade opportunities in key areas. So in the EU, we have about 250 green tech clusters. They are all registered under what we call the European Cluster Collaboration Platform. You can Google this. This is a very informative source of resources. So many of them, of these clusters, are active in the area of e-mobility or batteries. And we will hear about some of them today. These clusters are specifically well placed to promote and help implementation of our energy transition and the strengthening of our European energy security. And I know that energy security is also one of the issues that keeps Taiwanese government awake and at night. So to facilitate these exchanges between European and Taiwanese companies, we organize also specific matchmaking events for clusters and members targeting international markets. And one of these events will happen very, very soon here in Nangang during Computex Innovex. So I also invite you to Google this. This will be called European Innovation Week, and during this week we'll have a series of events, including matchmaking events for SMEs and for industrial clusters. So, to make a long story short, I wish all of us a very successful event, and my office, the European Economic and Trade Office, and the member states, the European countries' offices, which are present here in Taiwan, we stand ready to help you, to help Taiwanese companies find appropriate partners, trade or investment opportunities in the EU. So do not stay short of reaching either to me or to my friends from member states present here today. There will be, after the event, more networking opportunities for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Please remain on the stage. We'd like to invite the distinguished guests to come up to the stage for the protocol. We'd like to invite Director General MLMP John and the Chairman Richard Lee. Please come to the stage. Please look at the camera in front. And give your big smile. Please give your thumb up. Okay, please remain on the stage. Now we are still inviting more distinguished guests to come up. We would like to invite Mr. Qinjun Wang, Economic Controller of Department of Investment Service of Economic Affairs, and Ms. Guolin Xie, Deputy Executive Director of Industrial Technology Research Institute, one of the organizers, to come on stage. And one more, the Director General, I will to use Yuba, yeah, from Spanish Chamber of Commerce. Yes, please look at the front camera and big smile.
Please look here.
Again, thumb up. Okay. And about the stage, please remain on the stage, please. So I'll still want more photos.
Okay.
Please. I just forgot the online speakers. Can all the speakers open your camera? We have a group photo right now. Wow. Show up. Yeah, great. Okay. Okay, please, everyone, just look in front of your camera. Oh, yeah.
Here. Here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Please return to your seats. Following the opening remarks, we'll move on to our keynote speech by Mrs. Sunny Lee, Director of Department of DC Charging System Products of Delta Electronics. Please join us in welcome Director Sunny Lee with a big round of applause.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a great pleasure pleasure for me, to be invited by the organizers to have the opportunity to introduce to you Delta and our e-mobility business in Europe. Yes. Okay. Delta Electronics is a global leader in power electronics, in automation and infrastructure. We are celebrating our 52nd year's anniversary this year. And over the past 51 years, we've been providing the world with innovative, energy-saving, and efficient power products. With headquarters in Taiwan, we have now more than 85,000 employees worldwide, and among them 10,000 R&D engineers. And every year we have 8% of our revenue devoted to research and development. And from 2010 to 2021, that we have been reduced carbon emission up to 19 million tons. And we possess more than 15,000 patents. And last year, we achieved $13 billion revenue. Okay, so we have global operations in 3 major continents, in Americas, EMEA, and Asia. Now in EMEA, we have 33 sales offices and 4 manufacturing sites and 15 R&D centers. So overall in Europe, we have now 2,900 employees. We provide energy-saving solutions for different industries: the power electronic, industrial automation, building automation, LED lighting solutions, displays, EV charging infrastructure, solar solutions, mission-critical infrastructure, namely for the data centers, and telecom power systems. Okay. So here's some history of Delta, because Delta as a company headquartered in Taiwan, how can we reach today's scale in Europe? We started to a small office in Switzerland back to 1987 in Switzerland, and then in 2003 we merged a company in Switzerland called Ascom Energy. So we expand our offices to Central Europe and to Northern Europe, and we acquired Ascom Energy in order to strengthen our partnership with our European telcos. And again, in 2015, we acquired a company called Eltech Norway. So by this acquisition, we strengthened our engineering resource as well as our power design knowledge in telecom power systems, industrial power systems, and medical power supplies. So our organization expands from Europe, from Central and North Europe to Middle East as well. So this one is our sales office. So you can see that we have a total of 33 sales offices. Yes. So our headquarters moved from Switzerland to Glasgow, UK, and then now in Hoofddorp, Netherlands. Okay, and now I'll talk about our service center. Actually, both our service center and our manufacturing site is in Slovakia. So in this Delta Slovakia Service Center, we provide technical support to our customers, to our employees, and we help to train our employees and our partners, and we have expert teams for system design and assembly as well. And as for our production facility, we have 1,100 employees, and every year we train more than 500 members of staff and distributors. And our battery is ISO and RBA certified, and we have 18,000 square meter production space. So that is the major manufacturing sites that we have in Europe. And this factory, they produce high-end products, including the telecom power systems, industrial power systems, and medical power supplies. Okay, so as a multinational company, we treasure talents from different cultures worldwide, and we try to provide our employees a friendly working environment and to cultivate them with expertise to grow together with Delta. And even at our headquarters in Hoofddorp, that we have our employees coming from 15 different countries, working together to provide best service to our customers. And we also devoted ourselves to build long-term trusted relationship with our partners who manage to distribute and service our state-of-the-art products. Okay, so with the existence or presence of our Delta Europe operation, what would we like to achieve? Actually, our global responsibility defines a triple focus for our EMEA operation: environmental impact, social impact, and economic impact. One of our major focus points is mitigating and adapting to climate change. And Delta actively participates in the United Nations Climate Change Conferences, organizing official side events for COP23, 24, 25, and 26 in the consecutive years. And we share experiences with world-class think tanks every year. And since 2006, we've been instrumental in promoting green buildings throughout Asia, America, and Europe. All these green buildings are equipped with Delta renewable energy systems, storage systems, and building automation devices. And we managed to save 18 million kilowatt hours of electricity and 11,000 tons of CO2 emission. So today our portfolio contains 32 green buildings and 2 green data centers. And these are the Delta's own green buildings, namely our offices worldwide. And these two are our green buildings in Europe. One in Hoofddorp, this is our headquarters, and the other in Helmond. Both of them are in the Netherlands. Okay. And these are the donated green buildings that we, for charity, that we donate to primary schools and universities and municipalities. Okay. So our efforts, our long-term efforts in providing power-efficient products and to fight against the climate change has been acknowledged by associations like this. So we are glad that our efforts are acknowledged by these renowned associations, including the Dow Jones Sustainability Index, SAM Sustainability Award, and the CDP. And we've also been recognized with our innovation and patent. And we are selected for ESG 100 and we are also selected by Morgan Stanley Capital International Indexes, and we're also in the ISS Corporate ESG Performance Rating. Okay, and well, the second part of the introduction is on the EV charging business of Delta. So still, this EV charging idea was given birth. Still try to the idea of energy saving, of CO2 emission saving. Back to 2011, so which is already 12 years ago. So our EV charging business that we started 12 years ago when there, just not many people know about EV. But now EV is trendy. Everybody is talking about EV. I think thanks to Tesla's help, now it's a very booming business. And to meet the rise of EV, we offer a versatile portfolio of energy efficient EV chargers and smart charging infrastructure solutions, including the DC high power chargers, ranging from 50 kilowatts to 400 kilowatts for public charging stations, and 20 to 50 kilowatts DC wallbox for commercial and destination charging purpose. And also we have AC wallbox chargers ranging from 7 kilowatt to 22 kilowatt for semi-public and home AC charger. And what is not on this slide is the concept products that we cooperate with the EV makers, which of this we call it concept charger, placed in the trunk of the EV so that the users can charge them in emergency cases or they charge them at home. And all these hardware are integrated with our energy management systems, which is used to monitor and control the charging points, the chargers, and the EV fleets. And also this can integrate the renewable energy systems and energy storage systems together for commercial buildings, factories, microgrid applications, and charging point fleets. The following are some successful stories that we have in Europe. First one is our partner, Greenway. We commissioned the charging fleets. Last year, we offer almost 300 units of DC quick chargers. So they install these chargers all over Eastern Europe. It's not. Okay. Too much. All right, the second one. So now we talk about Roleg. Roleg is an UK-based company, and they are a leading e-mobility company. They cooperate with Delta to support their customers, including TfL, Veolia, and Audi, to roll out the chargers. And they are placed in many places in UK, and of course still the DC quick charging systems. Okay, so in addition to the charging point operators or the PV system integrators, we also work with the EV makers. Here we have an example with Volvo Italy, that we help them to build their charging network for them to service their customers. In addition to this, we also work with Volvo in Nordic countries, and also some other EV makers, including like Audi in France and Germany. Okay, and that's generate my presentation, but in order to better introduce you our products, we have a video clip. It's a 3-minute clip. Please enjoy it.
Sustainability is the key word for now and for the future. Countries around the world are now committed to realizing net zero emissions and low carbon transportation for a green environment. The expected growth of green and affordable EV transport will impact how people travel and what they expect to find when arriving at their destination. In order to meet future EV charging demands, organizations need to be equipped with the right EV charging infrastructure. That is why Delta has developed a comprehensive EV charging infrastructure solution. When your guests and employees arrive at your location, they can charge their cars and are ready to drive off to their next destination. Delta's EV charging infrastructure solution is future-ready and assures CAPEX and grid optimization. The Delta EV charging infrastructure solution, which offers EV charging, PV systems, energy storage systems, and energy management systems all working together, is a fully integrated setup that will ensure energy optimization. It is able to support the highest peaks in energy and EV charging demand, and is developed to offer seamless integration to your current power grid. But how does it work? First, power is generated through solar panels and converted through our advanced PV system. Next, power travels through the power conditioning system, which controls energy precisely for when it is required for peak shaving and load shifting. In order to optimize energy efficiency and reduce peak load impact on the grid, excess solar energy and off-peak energy is stored in our reliable battery storage cabinets. These are ready to use without putting strain on the existing power grid. Delta's EV charging solutions assure fast and convenient charging with high charging efficiency in energy utilization. To manage and optimize your EV charging station, the entire installation is supported by Delta Grid EV Management Professional. This is a management system that integrates EV charging, energy storage, and a PV system that ensures that your EV charging solution runs smoothly and efficiently. We are proud to have developed an infrastructure solution that can be leveraged in various situations, from shopping mall parking lots to residential areas, and sustainable office buildings like our own. Achieve low-emission mobility and high energy efficiency with Delta's EV charging infrastructure solution. A true future-proof solution. Optimize your EV charging infrastructure with Delta.
So during the e-mobility education period, you can meet Delta at on the fourth floor, and our booth is just right after the entrance on your left-hand side. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sang-Ling, for your wonderful speech. Now we'll take a short 10-minute break before our next session, Investment Opportunities in Europe EV Clusters. So we have some refreshments outside the venue, and all the distinguished guests can enjoy your refreshments outside. Thank you.
Thank you. Ciao. Très bien. J'ai vu que tu allais voir. Ah oui, 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 oui. C'est grâce à toi, c'est grâce à toi.
Thank you. Let's not give her speech very Chinese, yes.
你要走了。跟 Alexandra 打招呼吧。熟吧？当然。再见，讲话。
不好意思，我想说你们怎么还是不知道韩国没来
我已经刚把我的信号收掉，所以我现在在换语言。我现在在课
需要做像全美这样子的一些那甚至说现在有要拿所谓的P2X，然后 charger 要 back direction， 或者是说 charger 可能它会变成一个 device， 要变成just more reflection， 然后但是你它就变成要放more改变出来，然后还是让压力和电视直接反馈一些方式。
就是在上个月在月底就是有高龄男子给我看到这个
应该其实现在这个是蛮上的，对。
然后甚至像这样今天也说这个说好，不管是今天看好像说做大小企业，他会在收集这一块的事情，是做到
要利润才能够让这个东西变好。
讲一下啊。
我们是收集，应该这样讲，因为运营商是我们的客户，所以我们只能是要不要？Because we are actually give them some choices. So after the responses, they come to government and actually So it's something like an administrative agreement. They don't need to go to parliament. They don't have to go to each member state, such as the commission level, DG level. Yes. Let's encourage it.
它就用很快，但是没有时间，没有
For vacation, 10 days. I haven't taken that long.
The next agenda will be started within 2 minutes. Please return to your seat. Thank you.
They rent their own places. Maybe they're not. If they show up in Google, it's too obvious, right? Ah, but I thought they're closed. No, they're open now. Because I want to go there with my classmate. Yeah, 3 meters. 3 meters. Yeah, I don't decide. I was close to it. They open up their
December or something, yeah. So it's very, very, yeah, last year.
Yes. Until my friend, yeah. Because she was supposed to take me there.
Yeah.
A very different place, and very quiet, a very religious place. Because one of my friends is, all the school districts, they have their temples in their office.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And now we're here from speakers representing EV clusters in the EU. Each speaker will have 10 minutes to share their investment opportunities in European EU EV clusters. First, let's welcome Chairman Tomasz Costa from Czech Battery Cluster. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, nice to meet you. Okay, we'll leave the time to you. We give him a warm applause. Thank you.
My name is Tomasz. I'm working as the chairman of the newly established Czech Battery Cluster, because Czech Battery Cluster was established last year. I'm also head of the battery research at Berlin University of Technology. Next slide, please. So why Czech Battery Cluster? Why is it good idea to have a Czech Battery Cluster in Czech Republic? Because Czech Republic is highly oriented to high industry oriented, mainly to automotive industry. We produced in 2021 more than 1.1 million of passenger cars. In Czech Republic are companies like Škoda Auto, Toyota. Czech Republic is also focused not just the automotive industry like the private, but industrial focus automotive, so buses, trucks, trains. In Czech Republic is located also the companies like Solid Coverage, Škoda Transportation, and Tatra, which produce these type of mobility vehicles. So on this slide is also the map of the industries located in Czech Republic which are connected with the automotive. So almost in every part of Czech Republic are some company which is connected with the automotive industry. And because of the transition of automotive to EV, it's good idea to have Czech Battery Cluster which help with the transit. Next slide, please. One reason is that in Czech Republic we have several sources of raw materials. In Czech Republic is located the lithium, manganese, cobalt, graphite. In the case of the lithium and manganese, there are some preliminary studies of, or in the case of the manganese, the company Mangan Qualities expect that they will start production really soon. So we have to deposit almost 7 million tons of lithium carbonate equivalent. And in the case of the manganese, the company Mangan Qualities expect the production of 50 kiloton of battery grade manganese per year. Next slide, please. Okay. The other reason European Union is start the supporting of the building of gigafactories around Europe. In Czech Republic, we still don't have any of these gigafactories. However, there are some negotiation with Volkswagen about the gigafactory in Pilsen. So probably soon there will be 1 or 2 gigafactories also in Czech Republic, and we hope that the Czech Battery Cluster help the producers of the battery to connect to our Czech university and the companies which are located in Czech Republic. Next slide, please. So Czech battery cluster helped it's a private-public partnership cooperation between the private sector, public sector, and research institutions. So it's a functional ecosystem which includes also startups and spin-off, and we help the country with the transition to from the fossil fuel-based economy to carbon neutral economy, and with technological transfer from research to industry. Next slide, please. So, our goals are effective cooperation between the scientific research institutions and private public sectors, technical education for 21st century in the new areas like battery development, like basic research of electric materials up to the recycling. Correction, know how we get to the different part of the battery value chain. Active participation in European ecosystem, like European Battery Alliance, for example, or Battery 2030 Plus. Upscaling and reskilling, and talent attraction and development. Next slide, please. So we also support the development of SMEs, because for some SMEs it's quite hard to connect the right people in the research institution to help them grow. Cooperation between academia and SMEs, I mentioned. Access to funding source. We also helping the Czech government with some feedback in administrative things like European laws and stuff like this. Internalization of members, human resource development. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, Czech battery cluster cover all part of the battery value chain, from extraction of raw materials, materials for battery production, modules and balances for mainly for energy storage system, electromobility, safety, battery recycling, and battery second life. So Czech battery cluster is not focused just to lithium-ion technology. We are focused to any kind of the battery technologies. So we have members which works on the field of vanadium electrode batteries, for example, or advanced battery technologies like lithium sulfur sodium-ion batteries as well. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, we cover our members cover all parts of battery value chain, and there are several like smaller areas in each part of battery value chain. Actually, there is no time to go further with single parts. However, all parts of our activities are connected by education and research and development across all these parts of battery value chain. Next slide, please. And thank you for your attention. It's all from my side. If you have some additional questions, Czech battery cluster members, more deeper, I'm able to answer by email.
Thank you, Chairman Tomáš Kaca. Thank you. Next, let's welcome Direct Jan Bidik from Mobility Innovation Hub, Czech Republic. Please give him a warm applause. Hi.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure to be with you. I hope you can hear me well. I'm working as the director of Mobility Innovation Hub, which is under umbrella of Czech Invest, and Czech Invest split into the portfolio of state agencies under Ministry of Industry and Trade. Next slide, please. Czech Invest is typically in the past focusing and currently focusing on providing full service to foreign investors in the Czech Republic. And for some past couple of years, we have also strong focus on supporting innovations in various areas, including cooperation with academic sector, supporting startups, and also working with industrial partners, for example, with battery cluster and Tomáš mainly. And I will follow up on his presentation, giving you a bit more details on the EV market in the Czech Republic. Next slide, please. One of the tools we have in the Czech Republic in Czech Invest for supporting innovations and startups in technology sector, including e-mobility, is a newly open program which we call Technology Incubation. We are supporting over 5 years about 250 new startups, including university spin-offs, but also close cooperation with corporates, including international corporates, as the Czech Republic is traditionally, as a Central European hub, a good place for foreign investors to start their Central European but also European operations. As you will see in a minute, we are very close to the key car markets. Next slide, please. Technology incubation is focusing on several key sectors where mobility is one of them. We also cover artificial intelligence, eco-technologies, creative industries, and others as space, tech for life, and new advanced materials are coming to be open. Mobility Innovation Hub is probably the oldest, as Tomáš said before, Czech Republic is quite heavily focusing on automotive industry. Next slide, please. We provide full package of services to startups and innovations, from direct financial support through mentoring, education, co-work, connecting to the local and regional network, but also providing services in international cooperation, expansion, and international networking. Next slide, please. As Tomáš said before, Czech Republic, I would estimate that it's the second most densive country in terms of number of cars produced per capita. The car industry is making quite a large share of the national GDP output, and is making the biggest share of R&D investments, and quite significantly supported by the university and the whole academic sector. We have about 100 corporate R&D centers in the mobility sector, and Mobility Innovation Hub is supporting quite intensively exchange and cooperation between the private sector and academic sector, and also state authorities. Next slide, please. As Tomáš said, we have not only 3 major car manufacturers in the country, where Škoda and Hyundai are producing also EVs, but also significant producers of trucks, buses, and railway equipment. And not only they are covering and testing battery power, but also they are testing hydrogen and other alternative power solutions. Next slide, please. As you can see from this picture, there are quite a large number of international companies, car manufacturers, car suppliers, one tier, two tier suppliers, and as you can see from the picture, it's quite obvious that Germany and other Western markets are our main partner. We also export about 80% of the output to European markets and other international markets. Next slide, please. Talking about EVs specifically, the two manufacturers are making higher and higher numbers of EVs. It was over 120,000 pieces in last year, 2022, and this share will significantly grow as the Euro 7 and other regulations will come into place. Obviously, it's quite tough to adopt all the changes and all the changes in technologies and changes in processes and supply chain, but we are sure that we can manage, and it's clear that e-mobility is the next step, and we have to adopt, hopefully, with help of Taiwanese industries as well. Next slide, please. Not only big companies are participating in the value chain, but as I said before, Czech Invest and other partners are quite active in terms of innovations, startups. Here are just a few examples of Czech startups which are active in area of battery technology or charging infrastructure or battery solutions as such. And we have, I would say, every year we have a couple new more entering the market, and I hope that also in cooperation with Taiwanese companies and the local ecosystem such as battery cluster, we would see more and more innovations coming into place. Next slide, please. As you can see from the green columns, the share of pure battery powered cars is significantly growing in the last couple of years, and the trend is even stronger. We expect that we may be reaching 150,000 EVs produced in the market this year, and I would say about 20, maybe 25,000 new EVs registered on streets or on roads this year. Next slide, please. Talking about infrastructure, there is a national plan and investment focusing on extending charging infrastructure in the Czech Republic. Currently we are on the level of about 1,000 charging stations and 2,000 charging points. But we should be reaching at the 2030 level of 90,000 charging stations and about double charging points. You can also see that some significant retailers and players, not only the big energy companies, but also retailers are quite active in opening stations on their sites close to the shops and shopping malls. Next slide, please. This is the graphic picture of the development. As you can see, the last years made a significant shift and growth in number of stations and points, which is quite promising, and we are keeping the strategy expectations to reaching the defined goal in 2030. Next slide, please. As you can see, the charging stations and points are quite well distributed all around the country, along the key roads and the key traffic around the major cities. So from this picture you can see that we will be able to quite effectively serve the growing demand for charging. Obviously, the charging also is related to the overall energy infrastructure, where you can see significant growth of solar systems and other renewable resources in the energy mix. Next slide, please. And this is the end for me. I will be more than happy to connect further after this event, which is great. Thank you. And we will definitely be able to play active role in inviting Taiwanese companies and investors in the Czech Republic and region. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Yang. Next, let's welcome Club Manager Bart Vlagen from Agoria Automotive Technology Club, Flanders, Belgium. Hello? Manager Bart Vlagen, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good afternoon, everybody. So first I have to see if I can change the way that I control the slides. One moment, please. And I have to put it in presentation mode. Or sorry, maybe somebody can help me to put it in presentation mode. Yeah, okay. So first of all, thank you to the organizers for inviting me. It's a great honor to be presenting a little bit the trends and challenges that we see in electrification in Belgium. So my name is Bart Vlagen. I work for Agoria, and Agoria is a technology industry association in Belgium. We were founded in 1946, and we support 2,100 member companies in the Belgian technology industry. So we are an NGO, a non-governmental non-profit organization. If you take a look at Agoria, we have inside Agoria a special group which is called the Automotive Technology Club, which I am leading. And there we have a group of member companies who are focusing on these 4 domains. And there you see that electrification is one of the key domains that we are focusing on. Here is a short movie that I want to show on the Belgian car industry. So as the movie states, what we can do is we can connect you to our member companies that you see here. It's a group of smaller and medium-sized large companies. We also have BizLink, which is, I believe, also present in the audience as a member. They have their site in Hasselt in Belgium. I'm quickly going through the slides, and what we also have, which is, I think, very interesting to the Taiwanese audience, is an automotive innovation book. So this e-book that contains all the innovations from these companies. And it could be, I believe, a very good starting point to explore collaboration possibilities. Let's see if I can advance slides. Yeah. So looking at the automotive community a bit broader, we have seen the overview of Czech Republic. The Belgian automotive community, we have the first 2 groups are what we call the Champions League players, companies that are active on a global scale, either as established automotive suppliers or as startup scale-ups. Then we have a group of suppliers that mainly supply to OEMs and tier 1s in the region. We have the OEMs on passenger cars and commercial vehicles, and we have the non-profit research organizations. Altogether, this represents 56,000 direct employees, around 450 companies. If you then zoom in on which EVs are produced in Belgium, we have manufacturing of Volvo cars in Ghent, Audi in Brussels, we produce electric buses, and we produce electric trucks. So here you see the passenger cars which are produced in Belgium, and here you see the buses. And we also have the headquarters, the European headquarters of Toyota Motor Europe, with a large technical center also, and we have the proving ground of Ford, which is based in Flanders in the northeast in London. These are the trucks, so we produce the large trucks for Volvo groups, and we produce cabins and axles for DAF trucks. And then, of course, all the suppliers, you have seen in the movie, every car on our planet contains somehow some Belgian technology, so we are very well respected and present in that field. This is just something more for the handout, so I included some press releases on recent achievements. I believe these slides will be shared afterwards, and then you can read it through. So this is like a collection of the investments that are being done in our industry. I'm not going to read them all. Importantly is that we are really internationally recognized. So here you see a little bit the track record of our innovative awards that we have received with our suppliers. And also importantly, we have 32 passenger car plants at less than 400 kilometers around us. That's a little bit on Belgium. If you then take a look at the EV policy making and the car manufacturers initiatives in Europe, most important is of course the EU ban of sales of new vehicles with ICE, except the e-fuels, which has been accepted and which will take place from 2035. Here you also see other initiatives from Norway, Belgium, the Netherlands. What I think is that you can say that in the western side of Europe, the policymakers are a little bit more active on banning ICE than on the eastern side, and in southern Europe they are a little bit more reluctant. And here you also see all the initiatives from the OEMs. Go back. Then if we go to the EV challenges, typically what we have been talking about in the last 10-12 years is always range, charging infrastructure, and the cost of the car. We believe that these challenges are being solved, that these were the original EV challenges. The range is acceptable, charging infrastructure is deployed in large scale, and the cost of the EV is almost comparable with an ICE car. So there are new challenges for an EV. And which are the new challenges that we see? First of all, an EV is still a car. An EV is still a car. Secondly, it's a car, but it's also stressing the supply chain. Let me explain what I mean with this. You all know that Norway is the country of reference for EV adoption. Norway has a very high share of EVs. This is a picture of a street in Oslo, the capital of Norway, a couple of years ago. And this is a picture of the same street in Oslo today. So what you see is the place on the road for cars has been diminished. You see a large bicycle lane, and this is what we see across Europe, is that large cities, they want to ban cars. They want to get rid of cars, and even if it's an EV, they still want to get rid of it. So this is a big challenge also for an EV, because it's not solving congestion, it's not solving parking space, it's still a car. Then coming to the supply chain, first of all we see a large cost increase. So it's very difficult for the tier 1s and the tier 2s to make money with EVs. We all know the cost of batteries, which is increasing instead of going down at the moment. And stressing the supply chain means also the environmental impact. The mining of the materials that you need to do is also colliding, in fact, with, okay, we solve the CO2 issue, but we get another environmental problem in return. So an EV is still a car, and it's stressing the supply chain a lot. Those are what we believe the new challenges for the EVs. On top of that, you have, of course, the global goals for sustainable development from the United Nations. And what we see is that all the major suppliers and OEMs, they have sustainability in their website. So if you go to websites of OEMs and Tier 1s, you will see sustainability development goals everywhere. So this is a huge, huge topic in the automotive industry. And typically we compare it with this wave. If this wave is the sustainability wave that is coming over our industry, then the surfers are the suppliers. And you see here there are a couple of suppliers or surfers which are waiting on their board for the wave to pass. And they think, okay, I will wait for a next wave. This wave is not for me. And you see a supplier who is getting on his board and taking advantage of this wave. We believe very strongly that the sustainability wave is something which can be a differentiator for our industry and which can also be an excellent opportunity to stimulate collaboration between the EU and Taiwan. How does this translate? So from now until 2030, we see a very strong focus on carbon neutrality, CO2 reduction. You probably know the Polestar Zero project, which is like the lighthouse project for Polestar. They want to build a climate neutral car by 2030. And so it's called Polestar Zero, you can Google it. After that, what will come next, we believe, is the circular economy. This is the BMW iVision Circular. It's a concept car BMW presented in 2021. And it's a car that is 100% made out of recycled materials, and it's also fully recyclable again. So that is, for the next decade, the topic of interest. My final slide, because also my time is running out, what we see is that since 2000, this is a slide from a Dutch organization that I borrowed, so typically the organization Learning Power is a continuous line, but since 2000, we see that the technological development is outpacing what a single organization can adapt. And the only way to bridge that gap is by co-creation. We hope that this forum is a way to foster co-creation. I thank you for your attention, and I also want to mention that our structural partner from Founders Investment and Trade, Doris Wu, is in the audience, so please reach out to me or locally to Doris Wu. Thank you very much.
That is very good time control. So next, let's welcome research scientist Olivia Dohead from Material Nova R&D Center, Wallonia, Belgium. Hi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I would like to thank the organizers for giving us the opportunity to present some information regarding what is going on a bit more upstream in the on the value chain of battery and electrical vehicles. And so my name is Olivier Douere. I'm a research scientist in Material Nova, which is a research center part of innovation cluster in the south part of Belgium, the French-speaking part of Belgium. But I'm also project manager for Wallonia Process International in Tokyo. And in that respect, I also try to give you also some information regarding the region of Wallonia and the reason why it might be a nice place for Taiwan organization to invest. So I will focus my talk mainly on battery and battery applications. The slide is a bit crowded because as Ward explained, I also expect the slide to be shared with the audience afterwards, and then of course feel free to come back to me if you have additional questions or would like to get further information regarding the content of the slide. Okay, next please. So it has been recalled at the beginning of this seminar that the EU is an important place for the development of electrical vehicles, with the unexpected development of 30 million of zero-emission electrical vehicles in the EU road by the end of the decade. This means that compared to 2020, we should have an increase by 14-fold of the current of the electrical vehicles that were on the roads in 2020, and I mean, this implies tremendous developments, industrial developments, and research and developments in battery to allow this car to actually to move. And since all the innovation currently running in the EU is ascribed into the twin transitions that's been mentioned before, that is the digital transition and the energetic transition. We cannot develop any kind of battery without questioning also the sustainability of the device and how we ascribe it into a full sustainable life cycle, from production, from getting the raw materials out of them, and how at the end how you recycle it for second life or other applications afterwards. Thank you. Can you put the next slide? Thank you very much. So Wallonia is the south part of Belgium, French-speaking part and German-speaking part, and it's also gathering a lot of different companies active in the field of batteries. You can see on the left-hand side a kind of, I would say, positive circle showing the different steps in the life cycle of the battery, from the mining or let's say the supplying of the raw materials, fabrication of the battery, the implementation into industrial applications, and of course the recycling activity. All these companies or organizations are also supported by appropriate funding, by logistic companies, and also by clusters, industrial clusters. But it is also coordinated by the smart specialization strategy of the region. Has been, decided at the beginning of the decade, and it is somehow translating the objective of the EU in the region, taking into account the strengths and the weakness of the region. And also, since it's a topic where there's still a lot of R&D, a lot of innovation to be obtained, this is supported by innovation clusters, among which the R&D center to which I belong is also contributed. Thank you. Good. Can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So, Wallonia is an attractive place for investment in research and innovation. It's part of Belgium, which is, by itself, the overall country is very dynamic in the field, because it's also gathering the key element for I would say efficiency in innovation. That is, first, an academic excellence. So I put here the figures for Wallonia, but you can also, there are 14 universities in the whole country of Belgium, but also have excellent universities in the north of the country. And then, of course, this provides, I would say, talents and skills and well-trained workforce, which are actually quite many in the country compared to the number of inhabitants. And of course, we have all the industrial players of the value chain, and of course the innovation cluster to support new development in the topic. And Belgium is a small country, so its strategy is to be economically open to its neighbor, but of course to all to everyone in the world. It's a gateway to Europe. We have seen people from the Czech Republic presenting also the excellence of electric vehicles in the country. And so, of course, it's a country where you have a lot of foreign companies investing. So I'm working in Japan, and I see that there's a lot of Japanese companies in Wallonia, for instance. And this is also motivated by many incentives regarding either the tax or the subsidies that is given to R&D to promote the development of innovation in the country. Go to next slide, please. Thank you. Yeah, so typically, just to give you some examples of the innovation in research and development in the field of battery in the country. So I will start with the region of Brussels, which is the center of the country, where you have this R&D center for energy storage systems and energy technologies for e-mobility and stationary applications, BRAIN. And what is, you have here the description of the technologies that are developed in this center of research. But I wanted to highlight the fact that you have typically a European project which is funded by the European program Horizon 2030, which is called Light-Weight Battery Systems for Extended Range of Improved Safety. And what is the most important here is you can see what this project is aiming at, and I would say it's in the scope of probably what you're expecting from the development of electrical vehicles. But also, it shows the collaboration that we have in the European Union between the different organizations of the different countries. And we are on the right-hand side with the consortium, and you can recognize many of the actors of the field. Thank you. Next one, please. Thank you. Yeah, as far as my research center is concerned, so it's typically what you have for innovation clusters is you have typically it's a research center which is working in close collaboration with the university, the University of Mons located nearby. It has startups and spin-offs that have been created out of this center, and this center it's much smaller, but it has specialties in the field of chemistry, for material science, of the processing of materials and supply devices, and processing technology and analysis. So typically, the type of activity which is run there is some kind of innovation project with either companies, with other consortia, with other academics, to always be at the edge of innovation. So I will give you typical examples of what we're doing in batteries. Can you go to the next one? Thank you. So typically there are projects that have been done either in this center or typically running in this for the moment in this center. The first one is for the fabrication of transparent battery system for Windows. The second one was some kind of development of dry processing for lithium electrodes. The third one is typically what we are trying to develop for lightening the weight of batteries in aeronautics applications. And the third one is trying to develop new processes to improve the performances of batteries. I can go to the next one, please. So typically, I will just show some results just to tell you the type of materials that we are trying to test. And typically on the right-hand side, you have the electrode, on the left-hand side, the electrode, on the right-hand side, you will have the electrolyte, and try to build a system together and try to get a battery that can be transparent and also much lighter to be incorporated into airplanes. The next one, please. Yes, and in this one, so feel free to go through afterwards, and I will be ready to answer any of the questions regarding this project. It's also a collaboration with a Polish institution, where the point is try to use ion implantation to improve either the capacity of the battery by just modifying the electrode, or by actually modifying the charging time by just affecting the current mobility either at the electrode or in the electrolyte. Thank you. Next one, please. Yeah, so typically the way that Materianova, the R&D center I'm working in, is typical of it. We are a small R&D center, so to be able to achieve innovation, as has been said before, we have to make co-creation. So typically, the way we are working is by collaborating with our other organizations. It can be SMEs, it can be big companies, it can be located worldwide. So typically, you have here the type of funding that we are benefiting to develop this innovation. Mainly it's in Europe, but we also have some collaboration outside the European Union. Thank you very much. Next one, please. So typically, if you would like to invest in Wallonia, there is, I would say, several ways. Either you can go through the Wallonian Invest and Export Agency, where they will actually advise you about all the areas that you need in terms of technological environment, infrastructures, all the talent and skill workforce that may benefit by investing in Wallonia, and of course the financial incentive. This can be done either by a collaboration project, either by actually settling some legal entities in the country, or by bilateral collaborations. And for that matters, my colleague, which is the the commercial counselor of the AWEX in Taiwan, is also present in the audience. Feel free to be in contact with him. And he would like to go to more, I would say, R&D issues, much upstream in the innovation value chain. I mean, I've been working for the past with some Taiwanese companies that are indicated here, and have very, very good memory. So if we have the opportunity also to construct the collaboration either at the scale of universities or SMEs through projects of bilateral collaboration, would be a pleasure. So I will just finish with one comment. One next slide, please. Yeah, so this has been released yesterday or 2 days ago. So we don't have yet any gigafactory in the region, but the local government has been deciding that 50 million will be given to attract battery gigafactories. So if you feel like you would be interested to settle your suitcase in the region, I mean the intention letters have to be submitted by the middle of June, and proposal will be selected in October. So again, if you want more information about this project, also feel free to come back to us. Thank you very much. Next slide, please. And I thank you for your attention. I thank you very much.
Thank you, research scientist Olga. Go ahead. So now let's welcome Executive Director Zoltán Vig from Jedlik Anyos, Hungarian Electromobility Cluster. Let's give them a warm applause.
Hi, it's a great pleasure to be with you, and well, let me tell you that of course I listened to the colleagues' their presentations very carefully. There are a lot of similarities in my presentation. However, I would like to give you an example of a national approach, of a national strategy of creating the e-mobility ecosystem in Hungary. So next slide, please. These are the major members of our cluster and major partners. You can see that a lot of companies, lots of universities, some international brands as well. And on the next slide, I can give you the next slide, please. I can give you very briefly what we are dealing with. The cluster was launched or founded in 2014 as a cooperation platform with the government and other stakeholders, and our first task was to help implementing the alternative fuels EU directive. Since then, we have been dealing with policymaking, regulation, legislation. It's our task to collect opinions for the government and for the EU bodies. But we are also in close cooperation with our colleagues in the Batteries Association and the Hydrogen and Fuel Cell Association. And of course, we publish regularly annual reports about the state of e-mobility in Hungary. So next slide, please. In my presentation, I would like to explain how the Hungarian e-mobility strategy was devised, what was its original goal, what has become out of it, and what are the key tasks we are facing now. So these are the four topics I would like to deal with in my presentation. We can go on. Next slide, please. What is our concept on the e-mobility? In our understanding, E is not only electric, it's the energy mobility sector integration. And these separate industries and sectors are now seriously overlooking in a very large way. And it means that disruptive changes go on and happen in every residential industry. And in the overlapping areas, we can see new business opportunities, new innovation technologies. And that's why we try to help our partners and members to find new business cases, business models, and shaping and try to shape the policies and regulation around them just to make them more available and more successful. And of course, we need more of the best international practices, so we often, very often attend conferences like this. We can go on. Next slide, please. The Hungarian automotive industry is also a major branch of the national economy. You can see that in terms of production, we are one of the major automotive economies of the European Union. We have several OEMs present with their plants: Audi, Mercedes-Benz, Suzuki, and there's a new plant in BMW. But Tier 1 and other suppliers are also present, especially with their research and development institutes or departments as well. We are very proud of the quickly growing Bosch Research Center in Budapest, and recently the Jaguar Land Rover research center, automotive research center, also was launched in Hungary. So we can see the very importance of connecting industry and innovation along the automotive value chain. So next, please. And e-mobility in Hungary became important for the stakeholders in around 2014, and we could see that disruptive changes in the sector will affect Hungary. Since the automotive sector provides for almost 10% of the GDP, its transformation is a major issue. You can see the slide that what we can, Hungary even can offer a good starting point for automotive companies outside the European Union. And the East Asian investors have a very significant impact on the formulation of the automotive sector in Hungary. Next slide, please. Just for those who want to understand the in-depth importance of regulation, from 2016 and 2017, the parallel regulation of the energy and mobility sector in the EU gives us a very clear path. What Alexander Kozlovska said very rightly, to the green and digital future. So if the Hungarian industry wants to preserve its competitiveness, it has to adapt itself to the very demanding regulatory environment. So go on, please, next slide. The Hungarian e-mobility strategy was launched in 2015, and it was, you can see what were the major initial steps. What its main goal was to give incentives to the companies to invest in this new area. And this investment opportunity was duly welcomed by those partners and companies. Next slide, please. Right now, the Hungarian e-mobility market is the biggest in the Central and East European region, with an EV fleet of almost 70,000. Most of them are battery electric. And recently, the bus fleet and the truck fleet has been electrified also to a quite a significant degree. But we want to preserve this leading role in Central Europe, but it gives us a lot of new challenges. Next slide, please. The new challenge is how to integrate the EVs in the new energy environment. I think that's the question that has been touched upon by the previous presenters, and that's why Taiwanese know-how and investment would be welcome. We need an integration of those elements of this energy mobility ecosystem that are still missing. Energy storage, energy management, and integration of very high power charging stations in the grid. Next slide, please. I try to finish in due time. As you can see, DC charging has become surprisingly in great demand in Hungary. Most of the charging transactions are still performed on the AC chargers, but the bulk, a vast majority of electric energy delivered at the public chargers are already DC. So we see the clear future. The DC charging will be very vital for us, but DC charging requires batteries, energy storage, and a much higher level of sophistication in power electrics. Next slide, please. Battery industry. It's somewhat one-sided because Hungary has some bigger factories already present, mainly from Korean investors, SK Innovation and Samsung. We will have a huge CATL Chinese factory also in Hungary, but we would like to stress the importance of the European value chain of the battery industry. So it's not a goal, while we can be an energy or batteries production superpower in Europe, but without the necessary innovation, research and development and the whole value chain, it is not very promising. So we need more cooperation in creating a supplier network and a research network for the battery industry. Next slide, please. Yes, and these are new areas for the batteries, but I think you are much more informed about that than myself. So, because batteries can be very different and very specific, and we need more engineering knowledge and help from industrial partners. And I think we are approaching one. My last slide. Yes, please. The business opportunities include, first of all types of collaboration and partnership. So basically, foreign direct investment is welcome, but to provide additional value, this is the main requirement of the Hungarian partners. So thank you very much. You can find my details and contact details at the end of my presentation, which will be shared. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Next, let's welcome CEO Beata Britazon from Scandinavia Association of Automotive Suppliers. Hi, Beata, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hi. I got trying to get the camera on here.
Okay, let's still give him a big welcome.
All right, I'm the last speaker in this session, I believe, so I hope you still are awake and active in the audience. I will give you our view of the EV in Scandinavia, Sweden, and partly in Norway as well. My name is Peter Bryntesson, and I'm the CEO of the Scandinavian Association of Automotive Suppliers, and also I'm a part of CLEPA Board of Directors. CLEPA is the European organization for suppliers into the automotive industry. As we've seen already, we have seen very good information. I've seen Polestar, the Zero project, and also I like the wave we saw there. And that is absolutely true. There's a wave coming towards all the suppliers. We really need to be active, and because we have a huge change coming on. Next slide, please. What is the supply chain actually? 70% of a vehicle is supplied by the supplier and developed by the supplier. So we are quite important for the automotive industry. And we see a huge amount of software now as well. 2/3 of everything what we do and engineering capacity are software. We see three major areas, and that is, of course, sustainability, electrification, and digitalization. And all these three ends up in a new business model, and then also a new competence what we need. We see that in the future we will probably buy transport instead of vehicles. And we need to, especially on the passenger vehicle side, we need to improve a lot, because at the moment we use in average a passenger vehicle around 4%, and like 6% is parked and not used. So we really believe that the automotive industry will change the business model quite dramatic by going to lower volume but higher turnover. Last year we built 89 million vehicles in the world, and probably we do not need that much vehicles. So this affects the supplier industry quite a lot. So how we look at the EV and everything around it, digitalization in the automotive industry, we will see a totally new business model. And here also we will face a lot of circularity. We will see more flows and not this straight chain that we have today. Next slide, please. Do we need to do something in the automotive industry? Absolutely, yes. Here in Sweden, 3rd of April, we passed using this year resources, and now we are living on next generation resources. So we definitely need to do something. 20% of the transport is of the greenhouse gas in Europe are made from transport, and road transport is 72% out of the total transport industry. So definitely we need to do something. But a lot of people believe that we need to go to electric vehicles, and the electrification and the energy are with electric vehicle are helping a lot, but we cannot forget the production of parts. Here in Sweden we focus a lot of fossil-free steel, and one big steel company we have stands for 10% of the total CO2 footprint. So producing of parts are mainly very important to have clean energy. And we see a huge energy increase up to 2030 and 2040 just to produce clean parts for building trucks and buses and passenger vehicles. Next slide, please. Automotive industry is very important for Sweden. We have 3 big OEMs here, and but definitely for Europe. In Sweden, we have 1 big battery plant nearly finished now, and we have 2 decided to be invested in. They will be ready 2025. So we will have 3 mega plants producing batteries for electric vehicles and trucks. But all this change, we need competence. And Clepa made a study beginning of this year saying that 2.4 million employees need to re-skill due to the change in the automotive industry. So we really need new competence, not only producing batteries instead of diesel fuel tanks. There's a lot of other skills that we need, and it's not possible to find. We really need to reskill the people who are already working in the automotive industry. We started with this work 2019 already, where we saw 40,000 engineers need to reskill to be able to still be competitive in the business when we change from combustion engine to electrification. Next slide, please. We see that innovation is really a key knowledge, and we've seen in the presentation before about startups and incubators and so on, and we really believe also that the innovation and the new technology is key for the automotive sector the next decade. And happily, we can see that Sweden is top 3 in the world when it comes to innovation. And we have been in this position for many years. Our 2 biggest OEM using trucks and buses, Scania and AB Volvo, they have roughly 60% of the total R&D investment in Europe. So they are leading the innovation work with headquarters here in Sweden. Next slide. We can see that the peak of combustion engine in the world has been already 2017, and we will definitely see quite strong change to electrification of vehicles. We saw before that 23% of the new sale of vehicles in Europe were electrification, EV vehicles. But in Sweden, that number is 33 last year. 33% of all new vehicles sold were electric vehicles, pure electric vehicles. But in Norway, 79% of total new sale was EV. So it goes very, very fast. And if you look at on the European level, next slide please, we see that around 60% of the EV production in Europe 2030 will be pure electric vehicles. So we definitely need battery factories. We need to change the companies that today are producing fuel lines, turbo pipes, and all other parts connected to the combustion engine, and reskill people, engineers, and manufacturing people to be able to handle this situation. Next slide, please. This is very important. We really need to think outside the box when it comes to automotive in the future. We need to look at other technologies and businesses, like the telecom, for example, and the music industry. If you remember when you used to buy CDs to listen to the music, now we buy the music directly. And if you press next slide, we here have quite a big, no, one back. Oh. Yeah, exactly. If you see Spotify, Skype, Minecraft are companies started in the Stockholm area, and we have around 4,000 companies active in the IT business today. And yeah, we try to involve them now in the automotive industry. So this is really important for the future. All right. Next slide. And I would like to say thank you. And we have Business Sweden in Taiwan. And if you would like to, are curious about more about the Scandinavian Swedish automotive industry, please reach out to the Business Sweden office in Taiwan. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO. So next, after the speeches, we will have a panel discussion with our esteemed speakers and moderated by Madam Christy Xu, and Director of the Taiwan Asian Studies Center at the Zhonghua Institution of Economic Research. Our panelists will be Director Sunny Lee, is welcome, and the Manager Lord Flagen, and Research Scientist Olivia Doehead, and Director Yang Bizi. and Executive Director Zoltan Vik, and CEO Beata Britazon. And please also invite online speakers to turn on the video camera. Now I'll give the floor to Director Christy Xu. Please join me to give her a big applause.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Alexandra, and ladies and gentlemen, and guest speaker from abroad. I welcome you to the forum today, and thank you for staying with us for the panel discussion. We have, my name is Christy Su. I'm the director of Taiwan ASEAN Study Center at Zhonghua Institution for Economic Research, Taiwan. For this session, we should have 15 minutes, but right now we have only around 40 minutes. And my job is to make the most use of these 40-some minutes. So here's the arrangement. I will first quickly raise 2 questions to each speaker, and then we will open the floor for 2 or 3 quick questions. If there's still time, I would like to reserve 1 minute for each speaker to conclude. Okay, so we have all listened to the wonderful presentation by speakers from Delta and also from 4 EU member states. And also, Alexandra also mentioned about the 2 very important initiatives at EU level, which is the green transition and digital transition. I think Taiwan participants would like to know more about the countries you are presented. So my first question to the speaker from member state is, can you introduce a bit of the overall national policy with regards to EU-related cluster, and some may include the ICT industry. For example, do you have an industrial policy, a trade policy, an investment incentive, and also the climate action or the net zero commitment, which may affect or attract more investment in this sector in your country? So we have 4 countries. 6 speakers from 4 countries. So I would like to invite 1 speaker from 1 country first. So can I start with Czech Republic? So whether it's Thomas or Ian?
Yeah,
okay.
I can probably answer on behalf of the government
sure, please.
as a state agency.
Please, Ian.
Yeah, first of all, the Czech government is quite active in the area of renewable energy sources. We have several funding through different ministries to support the renewable resources in terms of the main source of energy. So, as I said in my presentation, the solar, especially the wind, etc., are quite dramatically developing as a major source of the new energy, even for the e-mobility sector. So that's one. Second, the government has quite a significant investment plan for the charging infrastructure, which is developing according to the plan. So that's a good news. Plus, newly we have been refreshing with the government as Czech Invest the support of foreign investments in terms of new strategy and financial support, which went through the government quite recently. So I would say that the Czech government and economy will be more able to absorb more foreign investments being active in the new technologies, including e-mobility. Plus, there are other plans, programs, and resources, financial programs to support the regional development, the implementing smart mobility solutions and smart energy solutions on level of regional governments and cities. I'd say that's the kind of overall general picture, and I think that Czech government is very aware of the fact that there is no future without e-mobility and without renewable energy sources.
Yes, thank you very much for that information. I think for the participants, Actually, Czech Republic is the country in the EU among the EU member states that have one of the most focused investment from Taiwan, especially in ICT sector. So thank you very much. And then I'll move to Belgium. So can someone from Belgium share with us your overall national policy? So what or Olivia?
Yeah, maybe I can start, and Olivier can add to that when required. So there is a strong policy towards the green transition and with the European Green Deal. As an example to that, because sometimes you might get the impression that the Green Deal is something which is just started. But I want to point out, for instance, that the plant of Volvo Group, so Volvo Trucks in Ghent, the Volvo Trucks plant in Ghent already was in 2007 the first CO2 neutral production plant globally. So CO2 reduction is on their agenda since almost 20 years, and there are a lot of funding schemes available to that. If I take a look on passenger cars, for instance, you have to know that in Belgium 60% of the new cars that are registered are company cars, and from 2026 all of them will be zero emission. So that means that our car fleet in Belgium is typically very young because of the high share of company cars which are renewed every 4 years. And we also see that the share of company cars leads to a lower CO2 gram per kilometer than the privately owned cars, which are typically older. Olivier, maybe you have something to add?
Yes, I would say that decarbonization is really a key issue in Belgium for the moment. In both sides of the country, you have, tremendous research that is currently achieved in offshore wind, for instance, on the shore of the North Sea in Flanders, and you have a lot of concern regarding electrification and new source of energy and storage through the development of hydrogen and other types of, fuels for making green the industry. So you have a lot of work is done in that way, and Belgium, probably like Czech Republic and any country of Europe, is also investing a lot of the recovery plan coming from the COVID period to, boost the green transition, and that includes, any types of key sectors for the transition, including the e-mobility. As far as ICT, I think Flanders is much more advanced than Wallonia in the topic with R&D centers like IMEC or other places in the north of the country. But also the country is also well known for welcoming foreign companies to invest. And for that, we have a lot of financial incentives that can be either by tax reduction or by subsidies in R&D and industrial development.
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to now invite Zoltan from Hungary to speak about your national policy. You mentioned already that you have already a very strong battery supply chain. You wanted to expand to the whole supply chain of the EV sector. So can you share in a broader sense on the national policy and including incentives? Thank you.
So, thank you. I would like to separate the institutional approach. We are working with close cooperation with the Hungarian Investment Promotion Agency, HIPA, which is a very professional body that deals with the foreign potential investors. And of course, the environment is very similar to what was mentioned in the Czech Republic and in Belgium, Wallonia, or the Flemish part of the country, because there are incentives, there are tax credits and other incentives, including hiring necessary, finding necessary skilled workforce. But that's a very professional and separate approach, and I can only recommend for the Taiwanese partners to contact via us maybe or directly the Hungarian Investment Promotion Agency. On the other hand, on policy level, let me share you the case study or experience with the Korean partners. A couple of years ago, the Korean companies identified Hungary as a key or ideal location for the battery gigafactories. but later on, in the process of partnership and the dialogue, because of the very unpleasant surprises of the COVID situation and the war in Ukraine, they realized that it's not very wise to transport everything from Korea to Hungary. Because of course they try to involve their main suppliers. So they are now in search of local partners. Localization is a key issue, to find the partners in the research and development sector, universities and other institutes, and to find reliable, high-level, professional local suppliers, not only in Hungary, because it's an international value chain, but also in Slovakia or in the Czech Republic or in Austria. So I think we have to realize that national markets are very tight, and we have to adapt ourselves to the global and European value chains. So this is usually how it happens. It is also it's a constant dialogue and partnership issue with the stakeholders involved. So I can only tell that if it's interesting for the Taiwanese partners, they should really approach us and other clusters, and we can give much more detailed information. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then we have Peter from Sweden. Peter, please. You are muted.
Sorry. Now you hear me, see me as well. Good. If you start on the higher level, Sweden will be CO2 neutral 2050. That has been decided, and that also we can see in fundings and incentives and everything what we are doing are going for that goal. If you look at the automotive industry, as mentioned, Volvo and Scania and Volvo Cars are quite far already when it comes to sustainability, clean energy and so on. And Volvo Cars have decided to have all the EVs selling from 2030. And both AB, Volvo and Scania are already producing electric trucks for local and regional transport. We definitely believe that the transport of goods, parts and people will go up and increase, but we need to use less resources by doing that. So sustainability is really high on our agenda, and we have also noticed that 99.9% of the global population do not live in Sweden, so we are very open-minded by trade and export and innovation and cooperation and so on. So it's really,
Okay.
We are quite far already. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I turn to Taiwan and Taiwan EU bilateral partnership in EV and probably other sectors. We have heard Sunny Lee from Delta telling about the success story of Delta. So I would like to first ask Sunny to share a bit of your thoughts and your experiences. How Taiwan company, they are interested in doing business with EU, either by trading or by investment or by R&D collaboration. Do you have any suggestions for this Taiwanese company? And then I will invite speakers to, from your experiences, to invite your suggestions to Taiwanese company. So I'll start with Sunny, please.
Okay. So, yeah. Of course, to start a business with European customers, it would be better that you have a local operation, and if you don't have one, you can find the support in Taiwan from the European Economic and Trade Office.
Sure.
Yeah. Right. I think that is the best way that we need to know the ecosystem in your industry. If you want to find partners, then you can do some survey, some marketing insights, and then you can try to reach out with partners or get support from the associations who provides this support. And then you may also try to attend the exhibitions, the fairs of related of your products related events, and that will help the development in Europe.
So I understand you start in EU by acquiring a company in Sweden, and but some Taiwanese companies are actually considering setting up their own manufacturing sites. So do you have any suggestions for these different approaches?
I won't say there's any specific policy which is good for different companies. We just got the chance to collaborate or to merge another company at that time. Of course, that for the first merger, that we were not very experienced, so we acquired some kind of a consultant company, McKinsey, to help us to work on that. To start, if the Taiwanese companies would like to start any collaboration with R&D centers or manufacturing sites, I still suggest that we should try to get support from even the Taiwan local government, some foreign trade administration or some bureaus doing that, and also some European offices based in Taiwan for the consultants.
That is very pragmatic advice. So can I also invite speakers from different countries to speak about your suggestions to Taiwanese company? Keep in mind that most of the Taiwanese companies are small and medium-sized companies. Not everyone is as large as Delta. So I'll start with Peter. Okay, start from the last. Yeah, Peter, please.
All right. 93% of our companies are also small and medium-sized companies. So we have big experience working with small and medium-sized companies up here in the north part of Europe. So absolutely, we are well aware of the capacity of the Taiwan companies. I definitely see a win-win situation here. And also we have 3 big OEMs inside in our country that are leading R&D in many cases. So this is a really strong position, and that combined with sustainability policy, what we are having right now, it's and the digitalization companies and the IT companies, that is a key to success in automotive industry, I would say.
Okay, thank you very much. And then Ian?
Thank you. As we said, there's already a strong relationship between Taiwan and Czech Republic. A couple of days ago, there was a visit from a chairman of our parliament in Taiwan. There was even a joint hackathon on the current challenges. I've been personally involved in discussions with Taiwan companies such as Foxconn and others in order to kind of exploit and develop the opportunities in local market. We have a special unit helping foreign investors, not depending on size. It can be big companies, it can be smaller companies. How to settle in local markets, and as we heard from our Hungarian colleagues, we actually work together Slovakia, Hungary, Austria, in order to provide the regional support as well. We have quite close relationship with the regional countries as well. So I would say we can provide personal tailor-made services solutions. We can definitely incorporate the company and the ecosystem into the local environment and find the right solution.
Thank you. And what?
Yes, so I fully agree with Sunny's remark. I think a very good point of entry are the conferences, the fairs, exhibitions that are organized in Europe. For instance, for the battery-related topics, you have two major conferences in Germany, the Battery Show Europe and Advanced Automotive Battery Conference. Those are two excellent opportunities if you are in the field and either you want to, I would say, discover who are the partners who are active, but also if you want to showcase your solutions. So definitely conferences, exhibitions is one thing. What I also think is important is technological excellence. So we have already a lot of technology in Europe. If you have some exclusive technology, some really key differentiating technologies in Taiwan, then I believe it's much easier to open the market in Europe. The same is also in the opposite direction. I noticed that, for instance, Belgian companies, when they go to Korea or Taiwan or Japan, it's much easier for them if they have a unique technology which is not offered yet by a local partner. So technological excellence is especially a door opener. And then finally, what I also think is you have Invest Sweden, you have Flanders Investment Trade, you have all these trade and invest agencies which are there to support you. They have a very good network. So for instance, we are connected with Flanders Investment Trade, AWEX, Brussels in Belgium. I'm sure that the other clusters from the other regions are also very well connected to their trade and invest agencies. And these people are there to help you as well.
Okay. Yeah, that is very pragmatic too. So, Olivier?
Yes, I mean, what Watt said was very good, and I would just have to probably add a couple of words regarding the R&D level, so the upstream in the variation in the value chain. It's true that technology and excellence is necessary when developing new technology. I mean, in batteries, for instance, there's still a lot to discover. There's still a lot of devices and materials that are to be considered. And if Taiwan has some, I would say, new materials, new technology to offer, something that is extremely interesting in Europe, because I mean we are a European Union which is working together on this kind of technologies. We have programs for that, and when we apply for the European project, we are asked to have an impact. And of course, if suddenly we have a company, even from overseas likely to come with new idea, it's always interesting to have them in the group. And I'm an R&D scientist, but I'm also working in Japan, and I see the way Japanese companies are also working with the one in Europe. So it's now Japan is negotiating associating partnership with the EU to participate fully to this program. So if Taiwan can also proceed to this negotiation to be part of this EU member states, then we can directly collaborate and generate some impact. Also, I figured out that even with a legal entity set up in Europe, you can also benefit from this kind of programs, and also be part of a consortium that we are all trying to develop to have collective impact. And also, there is some with the trade association. In Japan, they have also the NIDO, which has some offices in Europe. So, if I would say political institutions can also set some offices in Europe, that would be also helpful for all of us to have people to talk with and to foster, I would say, collaboration with the SMEs in Taiwan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And then we have the final, Zoltan.
Well, I agree to my colleagues what they said. I can only add that I think Taiwanese companies, especially SMEs, should should give due attention to the windows of opportunity in Europe or the EU. Let me give you a brief example. Now we are facing the consequences of the new regulation regarding the alternative fuels infrastructure in Hungary. It requires from the member states to set up ultra-high power charging or recharging stations along the highways. The big problem that there is no industrial capacity to provide the necessary chargers. The lead time currently is more than a year to get a decent and standardized DC charger, and standards are still missing. So I think if the Taiwanese companies can compete with the other major providers of charging technology, give more flexibility to the European market and more choice or more of the supply chain, it could be a big opportunity for them. And the technology also requires an individual approach. Like, for example, there is no still standard for battery integration into DC charging stations. So I think there's a lot of open possibilities to go on or to cooperate with European partners and to provide a very competitive technology for us.
Okay, thank you very much. I will now open the floor for two quick questions. So please raise your hand and identify yourself, and then let us know which speaker you want to respond to your question. So anyone has question or comments? And also Sunny from Delta is also here to get ready for the question. So I have one, please. So can someone give you the microphone?
Hi. So my name is Philippe. So I work for AWEX, the Wallonia Investment Agency in Taipei. Together with Doris, my colleague from Flanders, we work at the Belgian office in Taipei. And it's actually a question for Sunny, since you made such a great presentation on Delta Electronics' presence in both R&D and manufacturing in the European Union. Our speakers today have spoken a great deal on the different national and regional incentives that we have for R&D in specifically with batteries and electric vehicles. Is there any plans for Delta Electronics to expand your R&D activities in Europe and potentially, well, of course, all of us here are interested in knowing a bit more about your plans. And the second thing is, I just wanted to add on the discussion just now, in terms of the different dossier that we have, the current cases of investment interest from Taiwan to, specifically to Wallonia, in my case. There's really an interesting phenomena that Taiwan is looking at the European Union right now as at the forefront of electrical vehicles development. And therefore, I think all of us, the member states who are present in Taiwan, are very interested and keen to support the Taiwanese projects in this field. Yeah, that was just a statement. Thank you.
Yes, I'll collect a second question and then we will ask them to respond. So do we have a second question from the floor? So if not, please, the lady over there.
I'm Amber from Sinopharm, but I asked a question as a Taiwanese, not on behalf of my company, because I read the news about the first battery pack company in Europe. It's called Northvolt in Sweden. And they built
Northvolt.
Yes, they built the first battery plant near North Pole. And I also heard about their plans to build a battery recycle plant in Czech Republic. They're working with Volvo. So yeah, I really think that our Taiwanese government should invest more in companies like this, companies that have potential And also, I think Taiwan should play a key role in this reverse supply chain for EV, because over the years, we helped to produce almost every electronics products and also the waste. And my thesis, I studied in Netherlands and UK. My thesis was about the WEEE directive. So I understand that most of our manufacturers, or even our branding companies, they only follow the EU directives. They just follow. But if Taiwanese companies, we have like the world-class chip designers, we have world-class companies like Delta, I think we can play a better role in recycle and maintenance facilities for a greener and safe EV car supply chain. Because as a female, I know this would be a selling point for female consumers.
Okay, that's
thank
good
you.
part. Okay, thank you very much. I think that is a common, right?
Yeah, but I'm also curious, like for Peter, do they welcome investments for like Northvolt? Do they welcome investments from Asian companies or other regions?
Okay, so this question for Peter. And actually, I don't think we have a representative from MOEA here, but we do have people from ITRI and also Alexandra from European Economic and Trade Office. They can convey your messages to our government, so they can work harder to be responsive to this development of this EU EV industry. And then. So I'll ask Sunny to respond to the first question and Peter to respond to the second question.
Okay, so the question was whether we have plans to expand our R&D and manufacturing in Europe. Okay, the question for the expansion of R&D is yes. And the reason why is that now we have a problem in acquiring or recruiting talents here in Taiwan, especially for engineers. So you know that we already have several R&D centers, and with the past working experience, we think we have quite those engineers from Romania, from Poland. They are very talented. So we do have a plan to expand our R&D centers to support the project developments. And as to the manufacturing sites, you know that things are changing. Before, we focus on centralization of manufacturing. But after the pandemic, I think people now, we do have the crisis, realization that we do have to try to have manufacturing like a region, so that we can secure that the supply will have no problem in the future. So manufacturing side, I would say now the major factory for Delta is in Slovakia. It will still be our major manufacturing hub, and though we may expand the production if the demand is increasing, because now Europe manufacturing is for Europe. But we do see that the EV charging business is booming, as long as the other, like the telecom power sectors and the industrial and medical powers. So yes, if the market demand increases, then we will also expand our production capacity.
Thank you. That is really exciting news. Peter, can you respond to the lady's question?
Happily to do that, and that sounded like very nice music in my ears, what you said. And yeah, not many people realize the business model around Northvolt. And as you said, they are thinking from day one how to recycle and reuse batteries into their business model. So they will not only produce batteries, they have so much more plan around the battery plants. So they have Northvolt 1 is nearly finished now, and the neighbor building is called Revolt, and that is to take care of batteries coming back from used vehicles already, and they implement that, and the business model for the new batteries are built on Revolt, what they can produce. They have also a facility like this in Norway, and also, as you mentioned, in Europe. So it's a really advanced business model behind Northvolt thinking, and I'm really happy and glad that you have recognized this in your question. So it's really, really good. Thank you for asking this question.
Okay, thank you. I think we can allow for one more very quick question. Do we have any, please?
这边有一位女士
You can use
mic. Okay.
Hi, my name is Doris. I work for the Foreign Investment and Trade in Taipei. I think there was very interesting remark by Director Lee that you see the talent shortage in Taiwan and you would like to recruit more talents in Europe for your product design. And so I think there's a good chance for our speakers online to talk about the talent supply and the development in Europe. This will be very good information for Taiwanese investors when going to Europe. Thank you.
Yes, yeah, thank you very much for that very important question, because we haven't covered the talent or human resource part, but that is one challenge as well as one opportunity for Taiwan to further collaborate with the EU. So can I ask, we're also running out of time, so can I invite each speaker to respond to the question as well as to read up for what you're sharing today, and then we will close the session. So can I first invite Ian, you are in the middle. Yeah, Ian, please.
We are looking not only in recruiting more technical talent for the investors and the local companies in cooperation with the local universities and secondary schools, etc. Czech Republic has a long tradition in the technical education, higher education, but we are also looking at Czech Invest in attracting more international talent for the high-tech international companies, including e-mobility. By making more friendly the conditions for faster enrollment and onboarding of the international talent. So that's part of our thinking, and I think we've mentioned already kind of redesigning the skills related to the e-mobility and the transformation of economy and industry to greener economy. So I think that the Czech Republic on the governmental level and on the academy level is actually paying high attention to the talent attraction and talent development as such.
Thank you. And then Ward, please.
Yes, so to be honest, if I talk to our member companies and I ask them, what do you need? Number one answer today, people. So it's a bottleneck, to be sure, and I'm sure that it's the same across Europe, and so we need talented workforce. What can be done about this? A number of initiatives that we carry out at Agoria. We have a program on employer branding, because you have to know that young engineers, they are very picky on which job they want, but also which company they want to work for. They want to work for a company which is socially responsible. So the way how an employer presents themselves to the labor market is very crucial. So that's where we help our members to position them in the right way. Other thing that we do is regarding STEM education. We see that in Belgium, a lot of girls are not really interested in STEM, or not enough interested. So we support schools, technical universities, to bring more girls into STEM education. And also as an example, every year we do have the Inspiring 50. So we have the Inspiring 50 initiative where we put in the spotlight 50 inspiring women in tech to show what their job is, what their contribution is to society. And the CEO of Melexis, one of the semiconductor companies, she always explains it like this. She says, when a girl says to me, I want to become a doctor, then I always explain you should become an engineer, because as a doctor you can maybe help 20 people a day, but as an engineer you can develop a new medical device and you can help thousands of people a day. So that is something that is very important.
Okay, thank you. And then we have Zoltan, please.
Thank you. Yes, in Hungary, the situation is quite serious. We have a growing labor shortage and engineer shortage. Of course, the government also tries to support education, the technical education, but it has its limits. So we have to get used to the idea that we should attract international talent in growing numbers, and even from outside the EU, but it requires a lot of practical and other steps. Just briefly on other aspects of our environment, it has been of vital importance to think about the decarbonization of production itself. So not only the EVs, but the production of EVs and EV-related technologies should be decarbonized. And energy reduction is a great issue for companies. I think because of the latest surge in energy prices, it is the number one problem for companies in Hungary, how to reduce the energy costs and greening the production at the same time. Thank you.
Thank you. Then we have Olivier.
Yeah. So to add some additional comments, so Belgium is a very technical country. I mean, we still have a lot of people who have an engineering background. I think 70,000 people in the country, and we have a huge rate of researchers among our employees. So, but still, I mean, the questions that I've asked today are new. And I guess that for many years, I mean, most of the universities or the high schools or college schools have been working on their own, developing talents and skilled workforce. But we see now in the country that there is some kind of clusters gathering on given sectors, such as digitalization, energy, or some other type of sectors. The energy of different education institutions to be more efficient and to answer these challenges. So we see this kind of initiative going on, and it's growing, and it is the best way also then to transform, I would say, innovation and deliver research into engineering innovation. Also, I mean, that's been mentioned before, there is a lot of also incentive to welcome students, whether it's undergraduate students or PhD students, and the country is also very keen on, I would say, code diplomation. To promote, I would say, students to be part of the studies in Belgium and the rest of the country. And it goes both ways. I mean, inbound and outbound, that student extension.
Thank you. Then, Peter, you're the last one.
Okay, thanks. We saw this huge problem already in 2019. We saw that it shouldn't be possible to recruit as many new talents as the industry needed. So we needed to reskill people, and a problem with this is that they are all parallel working as well. So we need to find a system how to reskill people parallel while they are still producing parts or designing parts in the industry. So we started with that 2020 and have now this last years reskilled thousands of people. And we are sure this is very crucial for the industry to have new knowledge, new talents, to be able to handle the new automotive industry that we see. So I expect a lot of delegations coming to Sweden this year to look at how did we do this and what method did we use to reskill that amount of people parallel while they were still working at their companies. So this is really, really crucial for the future. And parallel with that, we also, of course, take in talents from other countries in Europe and other outside Europe. But it's not enough. We need to reskill the people already working in the industry.
And then I'll have Sunny from Delta to wrap up, and then we will close the session. Sunny, please.
Okay, I think this is a very fruitful meeting that we just have some presentation of different countries' developments or plans about the innovative business. And we also talk about how to set up a business for Taiwanese companies in Europe organically or by acquisition. And at the end, I think all in all, e-mobility is a business that we think is going to be our focus in the future. And I think this is, we have to focus again to how to preserve our environment and how to reduce the carbon emission. I think with all efforts, we work together, we can become smarter and greener. Thank you.
Thank you. Sunny made a very good concluding remarks for me. So I think I have done my job. I want to invite you to thank all these speakers, including Sunny, for wonderful discussion. Thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you all the speakers and the moderator, Christy. Thank you. So let's conclude the discussion right now. So thank you for your participation. Please don't forget your belongings with you. And also please scan the QR code to fill out the questionnaire, and you can download the slides for today. Also please remember.
Also, please remember to return the simultaneous interpretation headset. One more thing, there are Italy and Sweden help desks outside the venue. So if you have any questions, please feel free to have some consultation. And wish you good and prosperity, and hope you see you soon fast. Thank you.
Thank you.